All right, welcome back to Adobe Photoshop. And today we're going to take a look at two different things. One, what in the world is a mask? Why do we need them? And then how can we create a mask? Masks are integral as far as Photoshop goes to work non-destructively, meaning that you're never actually physically applying anything to the image. And to do most of the advanced techniques, you need to work in this manner and you need to understand how to use masks. If you do not understand how mask works, you're just going to struggle and it's going to frustrate you. And this is one of those weird processes where I think people try to learn Photoshop and it just pisses them off. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. Right here, we've got our layers panel open. And you can see we just have our background layer right now, and that's perfectly fine. All these layers with mask are going to be visible in the layers panel. If you don't have layers up, you would go to Window, down to Layers, and make sure that it's selected and you see it. That's going to be important. You want it to be in its own little window and available all the time. Now, to make a mask, you either need one of two things, another layer or an adjustment layer. So another layer would be like this. I can duplicate this layer. So I've got two of the same layers. All right. So I could make a mask on this layer. And I would do that by coming right down here and you'll see this little icon. It kind of looks like a Japanese flag. You click on that and this white thing right here is our mask. The way a mask works is white reveals or shows and black hides. Okay, that will make more sense here in just a second. We didn't do anything to this image, so we won't be able to see a difference. So what we're going to do is just ignore that here for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this layer. The next way to make a mask is the way that more likely you're going to be doing. So I'm going to go over here to my adjustments layer. And you could get adjustments here, or you can get your adjustments here. It doesn't make a difference. If you don't see adjustments, you go up to Window, down to Adjustments, and they appear just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a hue saturation adjustment layer, which is this icon. I'm going to click on that. And you can see it made this adjustment, automatically made a mask. All right. Now, white means it's showing everywhere or revealing the adjustment. The problem is, though I made a hue saturation adjustment, I haven't done anything to it yet, and it's down here. So in our properties is where we make adjustments for layer adjustments. If I take all the color out of this image, it makes it black and white. Well, why does it make it black and white? Because this mask is saying whatever you do here, it's going to apply everywhere. Now, a mask is usually used so it only happens in a very specific area. Now, let me show you what will happen if I turn this mask black. So on my keyboard, I'm going to hit Command-I or Control-I. I'm on a Mac, so it's Command-I. So I'm going to hit Command-I and I'm going to invert that. So because this is all black now, it's hiding us from seeing this adjustment. So it goes back to normal. If I'm at white, it shows it everywhere. It shows this adjustment, which is this right here. If I take black and I invert it, it's not letting me see this adjustment on this image. Why? Because it's hiding this adjustment. So what you're doing is really making a selection by adding black or white to an image. So what we're going to do is something really simple. And you have to get used to doing this because if you don't, it will screw things up. So right now you see these little white lines. That means that the adjustment is selected. When you want to alter your mask, you need to make sure those little white selection lines are around your mask. So what I'm going to simply do, and this is just a weird way to do it, is I'm going to take this selection and I'm going to take about half of it and we're going to fill it with white. So we're going to come up here and we're going to go to Fill, White, and hit OK. Now you'll notice that this half is black and white and this half is color. Well, why? Look over here at this mask. This half is white, so it's letting us see the adjustment, which was make this black and white. And this black area is hiding that adjustment. So we're going to be using black and white to hide and show an adjustment. There's two different main ways to do this, and I think this is where it really confuses people, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So we're going to go ahead and delete this. So we've got this image of this dog. Let's say that I wanted to darken his face. Now, I'm going to purposely over darken his face so you can see me apply this. This is way number one, and I think the most confusing for people, but let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to take the curves adjustment layer, which is right up here. I'm going to click curves. Okay, nothing's being done anywhere, right? But as soon as I make the adjustment to darken the face, it's darkening everywhere in the whole image. Well, why? Well, because the mask is showing the whole image. So what I'm going to do is hit Command-I to invert it. And I'm going to come over here to my brush, letter B. Let me make my brush at 100% and get a normal brush. And then I'm going to take my foreground color, which is the color white. So if you paint this, it's going to be painting black into black and you won't see anything. But I want white. Remember, white reveals or shows. So if I click and I paint white into this dog, you're seeing the face is getting darker, okay? So it's darkening in the area that I put white. So if I wanted the white to be on his paw, it would darken that area. And if we look at the mask over here, you can see there's some white and black. I'm going to do a little quick key here where I'm going to hold either the Alt or the Option key to show the mask. So this is my mask right here. So remember, where white is, it's showing. Where black is, it's hiding. So we're seeing the adjustment here and here because that's where white is. I can simply get rid of this area by painting black. I can do the same thing up here. I can totally remove this adjustment from everywhere by painting black. Because all a mask does is control where you see an adjustment. So right now, this is all black, so it's not showing the adjustment anywhere. As soon as I paint white somewhere, it will start darkening that area. Well, why? Because I'm letting that kind of show through to see that adjustment. So that's number one, where you manually can apply white or black into a mask. And I think what was confusing to people is the way that I do this is because it's a little bit counterintuitive. You make an adjustment, right? And for me, I just darken it a little bit so I can see where it's happening. And then I hit Command-I to invert it. And then I just paint into the mask where I want it to apply. Okay. So that's what I'm doing there. That's number one. No matter what you do, if you paint into a mask, whether it's black or white, and you can do this at any time, you're going to alter that mask. The second one I think is a little bit more intuitive for people, and I'll show you a couple different ways to do this. First, we're going to just start with the lasso. We're going to make a selection. So I'm going to make a selection saying, hey, I want to darken this dog's head. So I make a selection. That's picking the area that I want it to apply to. Now, when I click this adjustment, it automatically makes that mask for me. See, it automatically made this mask as per my selection. So now all I got to do is come in here and darken this, and it will apply it to that area. And so if I want to remove part of this mask, I can simply take my brush, the color black to remove it, and I can come in here and I can take that away, right? So we can constantly paint in and out black and white to remove or add to a mask. Just because I made a selection doesn't mean that I can't use my brush to alter it or further refine it. So let's turn this one off. So now we're going to do a little bit more intelligent way. We're going to come up here and go to select. We need to click on the background layer when we do this. So we're going to hit select subject. It's going to automatically select the subject as best it can. Then I'm going to make that curves adjustment layer, and you can see it made a mask of the selection. Now, when I come in here, I can apply that to this animal. All right. Now, it's not looking good because it's too hard of a selection, but the concept here is You can make a mask by one of two ways: by making a selection of any ways that you can make a selection in Adobe Photoshop. And then when you click on an adjustment layer, it'll automatically make the mask for you. Or you can do it totally manually, where you physically paint white or black into one of these little spots here, and that will apply the mask for you. Well, hopefully you learned a little bit about masking today and the two different ways that you can make a mask. If you have any comments or questions, you can always leave those below, and don't forget to subscribe.